Hi everyone, Daniel here. I'm the creator of the relationship model of addiction. What I want to talk to you about today is the principle that I developed, the 51-49% factor. And I've talked about this before a lot. And today I'm going to focus more on the 49%. Up until this point, I was talking about the 51% mostly. And just to kind of refresh your memory as to what this is all about, the 51-49% factor. It has to do with in an intimate relationship, in a healthy, thriving, functional relationship. The 51-49 has to do with the optimal balance between your relationship with yourself and the relationship with your other. So it goes like this. In every relationship, there are two relationships, one with yourself and one with the other person. And the idea of the 51-49% factor is to hold your relationship with yourself as primary always. So when you do that, when you have a relationship with yourself and you hold it as primary, what that means, it has so many implications in that you are responsible for your own self-care. You're ultimately dependent on yourself for well-being, self-worth. You're not relying on the other person emotionally. You're also in touch with yourself. You have that awareness and the emotional attunement and connectedness with yourself so you could accurately represent yourself. That is, say what's going on with you at any given point in time. So there are that's what happens when you have a relationship with yourself. And when you do that, it's also, having a relationship with yourself is also being your own inner guide, which I'm going to get back to. You're relying on yourself for your internal guidance. That is, what to say, what you're going to do, how you're going to conduct yourself in the relationship. So when you have a relationship with yourself and you're able to maintain this balance, and that is hold your relationship with yourself as primary all the time, that means what you have left, the 49% remaining, is going to be much, much higher quality. And so today I want to talk about not the 51% that's your relationship with yourself, but the 49% that you are the energy, the attention, the care, the level of connection that you're able to maintain with the other person. What you have going out toward the other person, and also if the other person has a relationship with themselves, 51%, their 49% coming to you. So we're talking about the 49% that's going out to the other person and the 49% from the other person that's coming to you. And this is all when you have entered into this, what I call the sacred space of co-creation. So this is where the 49%, what you're bringing to this space of co-creation. So what I'm talking about with the 49% is how well you listen, how well you share, how much you share, how much you open up, how you listen to the other person, how you receive the other person. A lot of this is about empathy. How much empathy you feel coming from the other person and how much empathy you feel going to the other person. And the more empathy, the more connection, ultimately the more nourishment. The stronger the rapport, the tighter the relationship, the more you're going to get nourished and fulfilled and want to continue in a relationship with that person and maintaining that level of connection. So when you have a relationship with yourself, you are able to do a lot of things. Use your internal guidance and assess. When you're with the other person, you're assessing how much of the other person are you getting and the quality of what you're getting. So if that person is really open and sharing a lot with you and is emotionally connected themselves, you're probably going to resonate with that person. You're going to appreciate their shares, you're going to get where they're coming from, and you're ultimately going to feel more understanding and empathy, and that is going to deepen your connection. On the same token, when you are emotionally connected with yourself and aware of what's going on and you share yourself, you will also be able to gauge in the 49% of yourself, the energy that you have going out to the other person. You will also be able to measure and assess how you're being received, whether the other person is feeling you and understanding you and empathizing with you. So this is where your internal guidance kicks in. So when you are kind of in this place where the maximum amount of connection and intimacy you can have is when you're giving out, you're expressing, and you're available, your energy is 49%. You have a major chunk of your energy and attention going out to the other person. And ideally, if the other person meets you and brings the same amount of energy, their 49%, where they're in touch and they're sharing and they're open and they're resonating with you, you're going to have something that's going to feel really good, that you're going to want more of, that you could build on. This is where the nourishment comes from. So the internal guidance that you are going to be maintaining when you're in the sacred space of co-creation and you are in this, your 49% is interacting with the other person's 49%. What you're going to be doing is you're gauging, you're monitoring, you're always assessing what's happening and in the encounter, in the exchange. And when you're assessing this, you're going to be able to decide whether you want to open up more or whether you want to close down more, whether you want to move closer or whether you want to take more distance and move back. This is very important. This is the key. So this is the key for taking care of yourself in a relationship and managing yourself and regulating yourself so you can be moving towards greater level of rapport, connection, and intimacy, or you can be moving back and preserving and conserving your energy for yourself when it's not happening. So this is really about taking care of yourself, but also how much you want to move towards how much more of a connection and creativity, and how creative can you be together? What are you creating together? If it's happening, you're going to appreciate it and want more. Like I said, open up more, move closer. If it's not happening, you're going to divest emotionally and pull back and close down. So this is what's happening in the sacred space of co-creation. There's usually, and it's all relative. Everyone brings, you could bring anywhere up to 49% of yourself out, and if you're bringing that much out, it's going to be a matter of how the other person is responding to you. You're also assessing how much of the other person's 49% is coming at you, and you can determine, that's going to tell you how empathetic you're going to feel and how much more and how connected you feel to the other person based on the quality of what you're getting and how much of the other person you're getting. So this 49% is just as important. It's equally important as the 51%. And what's really interesting about it is that when you have that relationship with yourself established, and you are in that 51% zone, that your relationship with yourself is primary, you're going to be able to function much more. The 49% that you have to participate in the relationship with the other person and co-create, it's going to be much, much higher quality. You're going to be more connectable, and you're going to be able to connect more to the other person.